I believe most of you will be familiar with our next speaker. I have only to say that he graduated from Earlham College in Richmond, Indiana. He was one of the founders of the Young Americans for Freedom. He is presently employed as managing editor of American Opinion magazine. I would like to introduce you, if not for the first time, for another time, with pleasure, to a man I consider a friend of mine and an honorable man, Scott Stanley.
Thank you, Jay. As you know, of course, the biggest problem that a young man faces on a college campus is not the kooks and the creeps and the commies and the oddities. It is his professors. And I suppose that if there is one particular feature of the mentality of the professorial liberalis typicalis, it may well be his attitude toward higher man. Higher man, he says, is primarily a materialistic thinking animal. That is, if you provide a soft place for him to sit, a couple of books to read, preferably by Arthur Schlesinger Jr. or J.K. Galbraith or Henry Steele Comminger, he will be in some sort of a liberal nirvana, which is, of course, the sort of social worker mentality which would send Soapy Williams to Africa the sort of social worker mentality which would send Soapy Williams to Africa to pass out free spray deodorant to the Watusi as a cultural exchange project. It is the kind of double talk and double think and frenetic and febrile and torpid and ultra-umbratile phantasmagoria of which only the modern liberal intellectual seems capable. And the monstrous thing, of course, is that when there is a conservative intellectual, he isn't given a platform. When there is a conservative professor, the platform is snatched away, as it was in the case of Dr. Medford Evans, who spoke here earlier, as it was in the case of the great Professor E. Merrill Root of Earlham College, not just 3 years ago. I know because I studied under Merrill Root. I was there at Earlham after he published his great classic Collectivism on the Campus. And I saw the liberal professors turn and smile and pull away his best students and say, "Don't sit in Merrill's classes, he's not serious, you know." And I saw them scribbling their nasty little cliches on the sidewalk. And I saw them canceling the appointments for his speeches in the regular convocations and for the regular assemblies until, on one occasion, finally an old friend saw to it that he would have an opportunity to speak in the meeting house to a Quaker. This was a Quaker college as a church. And so Merrill Root came to deliver his apologia pro vita sua, his apology for his conservatism. And there was quite a crowd there that day, and he stood and he spoke. He spoke for a little over half an hour, and the meeting wasn't over, and he turned filled with concern about what was going on not only on that campus but on many campuses, and he left the room. As I say, the meeting wasn't over, but behind Merrill Root that day walked 150 college students, leaving behind their liberal professors to ponder imponderables. That was a good day. Well, what do you do when they retire an E. Merrill Root? What do you do when they retire a Medford Evans? What do you do on the college campus when they retire again and again and again the finest of the professorial conservative talent? And you take on beatniks and the kooks and the oddities, and they take their platform and they mouth communist propaganda in favor of the Viet Cong, while that same Viet Cong is murdering American men in Vietnam. What do you do? Who do you talk to? Do you talk to your young people? Maybe. I think you talk to the minor conservatives, the uninformed conservatives on the college campus. I think you go out to your local college or university and say, all right, who has a reputation as being even any sort of conservative around here? And you find that man and you sit down with him and you talk to him. I think if you do that, maybe there'll be a little more help for people like Jay Connor on the college campus. Maybe men like Merrill Root won't write from retirement, as he wrote to me not long ago, quote, "Life is good. The forces of death, that is, of the mental and political concentration camp, close in upon us. But we fight back gallantly, and by that fight affirm inwardly the eternal verity that outwardly only seems defeated. With Cyrano we say, I fight on, I fight on, I fight on." Thank you very much.